Welcome back to the United Pubcast for an impromptu daytime podcast. It was supposed to be a sort of very happy, jovial post-match podcast in regards to discussing Manchester United's future number 7, Alejandro Garnacho, winning it away at Craven Cottage just as a former number 7. I say former number 7, but did back in 2007. But unfortunately, we're not really going to be talking about the match, Larry. Maybe it will come up in discussions here or there, and I really want to give some 3-2-1s out. But obviously, an hour after kickoff, a little bit of sort of breaking news did come out, and it is going to dominate the news world over for the next coming days and or coming months. Who knows how long it'll sort of fester on for. But Cristiano Ronaldo has finally done his tell-all interview. Now, we've only sort of got the original or one or two quotes at the moment, but more and more information is coming to light as we sort of speak. So we thought we'll just go live and sort of dissect it and pick each other's brains and opinions, and everyone in the live chat as well, if they're lucky enough to join us on this fine Monday morning. But talk to me, Larry. Where do you want to start in terms of Manchester United kicking off our Monday to start off well? Garnacho winning it in injury time, or Cristiano Ronaldo finding a microphone a little bit later on?
Yeah, well, Tom, it's amazing that there was a football match this morning. When I woke up, that was my first priority, to make sure that I stayed away from my phone and I watched the game of football. And what an enthralling ending to the match it was. And I want to give more attention to this game, but unfortunately, the massive news, as you rightfully point out, is what's unfortunately come after that. We're seeing the start of a Manchester United career for Garnacho, while what's come out following the game is actually going to be talking about the potential end of a legend of Manchester United, that being in Cristiano Ronaldo. On the match, can I just say, Garnacho, wonderful goal, wonderful opportunity for him, a genuine match-making difference coming off the bench, and I'm so happy for him. I got to say, the right back, he looked like Harry Maguire. I'm amazed Garnacho managed to get to that ball, but beautiful football, and I'm really happy to see a young kid express himself and take his opportunity. Let me ask you, how pleasing is it, given the stories that we heard in pre-season, talking about attitude, which will be the theme of this video, but on Garnacho, we saw that he was criticized for being late to 2 meetings during pre-season. Ten Hag has apparently frozen him out, and now we're seeing reports coming out around getting a nutritionist, getting exercise physiologist, getting his diet right, and he's clearly making an impact.
That's all you can ask for. Like, it's one of those things, as you rightly say, a lot of this discussion will go around a certain player's attitude. But in regards to information that's come out about Garnacho in recent weeks, there were one or two question marks from Erik Ten Hag towards the young player in regard. And it's one of those things that we're going to be heavily critical of a young player. I think we're right to a certain degree, but also we're talking one stage of his career, the model professional at the other end of his career is just as potentially got just as poor an attitude at times. So it's one of those things players need to learn from their mistakes. Erik Ten Hag will hopefully beat it out of him, and he'll learn from those. And at the moment, we're reaping the rewards because he's killing it for Manchester United, and he's absolutely pivotal to the way we're moving forward at the moment. So it'll be interesting. But you mentioned there in regards to that Ronaldo goal, the start of Garnacho's career, the end of Ronaldo's career, my favourite Ronaldo goal, because we're only going to have to be looking back at times now. There's no future for the Portuguese anymore. My favourite goal was away at that end at Craven Cottage back in 2007, which won us the 06-07 title. Now, I don't know what this Garnacho goal will go on to achieve for Manchester United, but fingers crossed it is the start of the next big career at United. Ian, good to see you, mate, and congratulations to you and your lovely wife on the birth of the new little baby boy. Good to see, well, a big baby boy, actually, to be fair, but Viva Ronaldo. He's all but gone. Stephen here, good to see you, mate. Good win against a team that knows how to fight till the end. Look, that is good talk about the game, but Larry, we do have to move. Actually, we'll quickly go 3-2-1s before we get into. While we do let one or two more people join the live chat. 3-2-1s. I'm going. Alejandro Garnacho has to be 3 points for me.
Yeah, no brainer. Obviously, gets a crucial winner, and what a way to score your first Premier League goal. Really happy for him. Absolutely, Garnacho for the 3 points.
Okay, 3 points for Alejandro Garnacho, and we'll quickly crack on. There's two names I want to throw out here, or potentially throw a third in there, because we've forgotten Christian Eriksen scored a goal for Manchester United. It's supposed to be this huge occasion. We can all revel in the celebrations and joy that brings for so many different reasons. Eriksen did score, but also two other names. I can throw his name in there for the goal, but also Casemiro and actually Victor Lindelof, I thought had a good game. So I'll leave 2 points and 1 point up to you as we crack on with Ronaldo discussion.
Lindelof and Casemiro, happy with that as well. To be honest, it was a weird game. I didn't think United played super well, and I thought Andreas Pereira had the game of his life. Dan James scored as well, which is worth a mention. So some United boys coming back to get some retribution of some sort. But I'm with you on Lindelof. I thought Lindelof was really good. I actually thought Martinez was probably the poorer of the two in this match. So with you on Lindelof, And I'd also agree with. I mean, it's hard, man. Eriksen gets the assist at the end of it. I could
Actually, I didn't realize that the assist and the goal for Eriksen. Maybe that's.
So I mean, I'd probably go Eriksen for 2 points, to be honest with you, and then the 1 point you could go Casemiro Lindelof.
Well, we'll go. Look, I'll go Casemiro. That tackle in the first, and that's not to take anything away from Lindelof's performance. I thought he was very good, but the way Casemiro sort of just one or two little things he did, especially the build up to the first goal, fantastic tackle, which set us through. So I'll go Casemiro for 1 point, Eriksen for 2 points, and the new star of the show, Alejandro Garnacho, for 3 points. Agree or disagree? Do let us know in the comments below. And if you are ready for a bit of Ronaldo discussion, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. That'd be great. But Larry, where do we want to start? Because we knew this interview was coming. Now, we thought this interview was going to come when he got his move before the season started. And then he's going to leave the club and do this tell-all interview. He didn't get that move, so the club obviously said, keep your mouth shut. My first instinct when I saw he sat down with Piers Morgan, before I saw any quotes or any headlines, was this is the tell-all interview. That's what Piers Morgan does. That's what these sort of latest shtick in the last couple of weeks. For me, I said, okay, before I read anything, his time at United's done. This is obviously his tell-all interview where he's going to go in on whoever he's going to go in on. But before anything came out, I said, okay, his time at Manchester United is done now, regardless of what he says.
First things first, we've been told Ronaldo's ill for the last 2 matches. He's made himself unavailable for being ill. Now, we don't know when this was recorded, but if this has been recorded, in fact, over the last few days, then I think we need to start talking about Ronaldo. Forget anything he said, which will obviously dissect his comments in a moment. But anything he said is basically gone into the trash as far as I'm concerned. Because
as he said, and look, any defense, it's not a defense of Ronaldo. I'm showing another side of the coin when I'm discussing the Ronaldo. So I'm not defending Ronaldo here. I'm getting him out of the club. I'm happy for him to move on. So anytime I sort of counteract your argument, I'm not on the side of Ronaldo. I'm just arguing that side of the fence.
Sure.
Ill. Is that an actual line that's come out? I think it's best for all parties. Him and Eric Ten Hag have said, okay,
Ten Hag
the
said
situation.
he was ill. That's literally his comments post-match.
To appease the fans in terms of, okay, he's not available for selection. They can't say, no, I've given him an early mark for Qatar. I mean, in regards to the actual facts behind, not sort of 1 or 2 lines to appease fans.
Well, whatever it is, Ronaldo hasn't put the nail in his own coffin, Tom. He's not playing, and now this has come out on the post-match of a massive victory for Manchester United. So,
but that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. A decision has been made, whether 2 days ago or 2 weeks ago, that his time at United is over. Eric Ten Hag and Ronaldo. Again, this before any quotes came out, I said, as soon as he sat down with Piers Morgan, that tells me a decision has been made that he's not going to play for Man United again. So whether Ten Hag's ill or Ten Hag's saying he's ill or injured.
That doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when we talk about the whole point of these whole conversations is who's in the right, who's in the wrong, because that's how we are as human beings. We need to take a side. Ronaldo's on the wrong side of this. You can't twist that. There's no version of this where Ronaldo comes out being indefensible or comes out being the good guy here. United just had a massive victory. He wasn't present. And instead, he's doing an interview with Piers Morgan, criticizing his boss, criticizing the club. There's no excuse for it, Tom. I mean, whatever you want to say, mate. And you know, I love you. But in the purpose of this argument, there's no defense of Ronaldo. There's no point even trying here.
No, I'm not defending Ronaldo. I'm saying in regards to, let's look at the interview in regards to, if you want to weigh up percentages, I know I'm not saying 80% of the interview or 20% of the interview. I haven't seen everything at the moment. Regardless, my biggest issue with the interview, and again, get him out of the club. I don't want him at the club anymore. It's gone too far now. But I don't respect Eric Ten Hag. Now we'll get into 1 or 2 quotes. That's where I draw a line in the sand. But that's where I draw a line in the sand. That's where I draw a line in the sand. That one with the manager. However, and I want you to be honest here. The rest of the interview, we actually agree with everything he says. Besides the Eric Ten Hag issue, we actually agree with everything he says. Now, we don't want to be seen as agreeing with him because we don't like him at the moment. But and I know you deep down, you do understand, you do agree with everything he says. Not the Erik Ten Hag bit. Obviously, that bit is a draw a line in the sand, get him out of the club after that, of course. But it shouldn't take away from the fact we've been calling for players to be honest and lift the lid on what is happening at the club. As soon as someone has done that, we're crucifying them for that. And I think rightfully crucified at times, especially, as I said, the issue with Erik Ten Hag and Ronaldo. That's where it has gone too far. As soon as he mentioned that, out the door. Everything else, though, we've been calling for, we've been screaming for it for over a decade. We've finally been given it. and we're saying, no, it's unprofessional, he shouldn't be doing it. So did we really want that, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what? I would support his comments if it was, I want to be at Manchester United. I'm honoured that I got to wear the armband last week, and I want to see out this year, and I want to hopefully see out next year because I love this club, and that's why I'm calling this out. Now, if he's on the way out and he's making these comments, well, who gives a shit, mate? I can criticize my boss when I resign. Has no impact. You know what I mean? Like, it's the coward way out. Ronaldo's acted like a coward today. I want to go through some of his comments, Tom, and I'll get your reaction to them. So, bit of a summary. Now, for anyone listening here, there is going to be a full interview. Now, this looks like it's about an hour and a half interview. We've only been given snippets. That's going to come out Wednesday and Thursday UK time. So look out for that. But Ronaldo firstly starts with saying Manchester United are trying to force him out. He says not only the coach, another 2 or 3 guys. Piers Morgan asked him, is that someone at a senior executive level? Ronaldo says yes to that. On Ten Hag, he says, I don't have respect for him because he doesn't show respect for me. If you don't have respect for me, I'm never going to respect you. On Ralph Rangnick, he says, if you're not even a coach, how are you going to be the boss of Manchester United? I'd never even heard of him. On Wayne Rooney, he says, I don't know why he criticizes me so badly. Probably because he finished his career and I'm still playing at a high level. Jeezy, he went hard. And then on your point, on the Sir Alex Ferguson, he says, since Sir Alex left, there's no evolution in the club. Nothing has changed. He knows better than anyone that the club is not on the path they deserve to be. He knows, everyone knows. And finally, he then tries to be like, shit, maybe I've said too much here. I need to think of the fans. And then he says, I think the fans should know the truth. I want the best for the club. This is why I came to Manchester United. Firstly, Tom, I'm going to ask you for your reaction. My initial thoughts, in summary, you don't give a shit about the fans. You're doing this interview for Cristiano Ronaldo. Let's get that right. Two,
since 2003, we've known that. Since 2003, we've known it's about Ronaldo.
All right, but you can take that when they're all in for the club. He's not all in for the club here.
But we know that. I've accepted that in 2003. You're preaching to the converted. Since 2003, 2004, I know it's been about Ronaldo. You don't have to convince me. I know.
All right, but Tom, all right, let's start with the Ten Hag comments here. I don't respect my coach because my coach doesn't respect me. I'm going to give you a very quick timeline to you and the listeners. Here is a quick timeline of everything that Erik Ten Hag has actually done for Ronaldo. Ronaldo didn't go on preseason tour. True or false?
True.
All right. So he didn't get a preseason in. Then he demands to start. That's not going to happen when you're not on preseason tour. Anthony Martial performed well on preseason. So did Marcus Rashford. So did Jadon Sancho. Rightfully so, those 3 players started the season because Ronaldo wasn't fit and didn't have a preseason. He left the Real Sociedad game early. I know other players did as well, but he did. So it wasn't Real Sociedad. Whatever team we versed in the preseason tour. Following that, he hasn't performed well. He's got 3 goals so far this season, one of which is a penalty. Every time he's come in, he's looked his age. He has not performed well. He left Tottenham early. After that, Ten Hag reinstates him into the team. He then gives him the armband last week against Aston Villa. We go on to lose the game. He's left him on the pitch following that Tottenham game. Every game Ronaldo started, he has remained on the pitch for the full 90 minutes. What more could Ten Hag have done to appease Ronaldo? Someone explain that to me.
Yeah, no. My point, and look, I completely agree. My point in saying all those, did I say Erik or Ronaldo was right to do this interview? Yes or no?
You didn't, but you're still defending elements of it. Like you're saying, okay, but this is Ronaldo. This is the way.
Elements.
All right,
no. You're preaching to the converted. It's like you're trying to convince me. Like, look, no, I've been agreeing with you the whole time. I know Ronaldo's like this. Am I saying Ronaldo should stay or leave the club?
I don't know. What are you saying? You tell me.
Well, if you open your ears, I've been saying that this is his time's done. He has to leave the club for both him and it's gone too far. He has to leave the club now. There's no way he can continue. Erik Ten Hag needs to be able to get rid of him tomorrow morning. I'm not defending Ronaldo's actions. I'm saying everything besides the Erik Ten Hag bit where he doesn't respect him. Yeah, that's enough. Get out of the club. Everything else in regards to what he said, we all agree with. I'm just saying, can we?
Any comments you think are substantial?
Oh, yeah, no, that was petulant. No, that was petulant. He shouldn't be saying that. I don't know what the question was in regards to that.
Something around looking better than Rooney, which wasn't in these quotes. And then
I haven't seen the context. Obviously, Piers Morgan has a relationship with, and again, this is not defending. I haven't seen the video. I haven't seen the question and the context in regards to that interview. So the Wayne Rooney bit, or that question, sorry, the Wayne Rooney bit and the Erik Ten Hag, get out of the club, of course. The interview, though, in regards to lifting the lid with everything at the club, can you accept that you agree with what he's saying? We've wanted this. Now, I'm not defending he shouldn't have done it. I'm not saying he should have done the interview, but we agree with him, but we don't want to be seen as agreeing with him.
No, we do. Look, on the club, of course, anyone can say we've been
that's my defending, not
the Glazers. Tom,
of the Erik Ten Hag thing.
But my point is, you can't criticize the club if, like, this would have been seen as leadership, godly. If he said, I want to stay at Manchester United, they're forcing me out because I'm going to come on here and I'm speaking against the Glazers. I'm here to make a stand, to make sure that there's a change at the club. That's not what this interview was. This interview was, I'm throwing the club, I'm going to disrespect
Wind
the club.
it back.
Hold on, Tom, let me get this out. He wants to disrespect the club. He disrespected his coach. He's disrespected his teammates, given that it's come out after the game. And then on top of all of that, he's clearly knowing that he's going to leave, go to the World Cup. He's going to let this simmer. He hasn't spoken to Ten Hag like a man. And because of all of this, at the end of it, he's now going to leave. It is the cowardice thing it was the most cowardly thing he could have done. Manchester United made Cristiano Ronaldo. Let's get that right. Do you agree with that or not? Ronaldo would not be the player he is. Manchester United gave him the platform. Now, you could say if he went to Real Madrid, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, anyone else at the time he did, maybe he goes on to have the career he does. And you're probably right in saying that. But there is something in Sir Alex Ferguson nurturing him, having the patience with him. There was a time when Ronaldo was the most frustrated fans were frustrated with Ronaldo. Let's get that right. For about 3 seasons when he joined, he was the most frustrating player to watch. He played on the ball. He played to the fans. It was very frustrating. Sir Alex nurtured him. He was in a culture, a team environment to succeed. And Sir Alex Ferguson ensured that he became the multiple Ballon d'Or player that he proved to be. And of course, he put in the work to achieve that too. But everything that he did today disrespects Manchester United. There's no debate about that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I want you to understand that when I'm saying in terms of some elements of the interview, where I agree with Ronaldo, that is not me defending Ronaldo. Can you just get it tattooed, Larry? I want Ronaldo to leave Manchester United tomorrow morning. Okay, accept that. I'm saying wind it back a year in regards to when things started. Was a year ago Ole Gunnar Solskjaer left? Probably about around a year ago. No, things started to work out. This Ronaldo sign looked like it wasn't going to work. And we all said, okay, there's going to be an exit plan. The fairy tale's over. Eventually, this is going to end in pain. Okay, so we all sat here, the club has to take a stance. The club has to be the good guys in the end of this relationship, and Ronaldo needs to be painted the bad guy. So we said this is going to come to an ugly mess, unfortunate, but that's the situation we're going to find ourselves in. And that's when we sort of look forward, okay, is Ronaldo going to lift the lid? And I'm just thinking Ronaldo can only blame himself in regards to his behaviour on and off the field. He can blame himself for his performances and especially off the field in regards to his behaviour, leaving the ground, interviews, not going to pre-season. That is all solely on Ronaldo. But we look at what his reasons for leaving. Now, if a year ago under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it looked like it wasn't going to be working, and we sat here and said it looks like the club are going to sort of paint Ronaldo as the villain and potentially force him out to save face. Now, is that where we're again, not defending Ronaldo's sort of behaviour in terms of trying to leave the club, but in going back a year ago when he was potentially going to get the sort of the feeling that he was being pushed out and forced out, is that potentially where his feeling, not defending his feeling, but where he's potentially feeling I was being trying to forced out, and that is where I'm sort of his bad relationship with the club sort of started from his end.
Look, ultimately, Tom, he hasn't performed. And that's for me, it all starts in preseason. It all came out that he wanted to leave the club.
I'm saying before preseason, though. I'm not only going to social when the club sort of put one or two murmurings that he's the bad guy in this. And we sat here and we agreed with this a year ago. Is that where he felt potential? And again, not defending. Who cares if he felt disrespect? I'm just saying the fact if he did feel disrespect from there, is that where this started? Not so much not qualifying for the Champions League, not Erik Ten Hag's respect, not the unfortunate incident with his family. I'm saying that in regards to the picture the club was painting a year ago, in terms of this relationship wasn't going to work, the signing ended up proving a bad signing. The club was taking one side and throwing Ronaldo out to dry. And then not the situation now. I'm talking about a year ago when Ralph Rangnick came in, Solskjaer has been sacked. It was Ronaldo's fault. And I'm just saying that's the picture the club painted. That was the narrative the club was forcing out there. And is that where Ronaldo was saying a year ago, that's when I started to feel a little bit disrespectful, a bit disrespected, and sort of, I don't want to use the word, but
I don't think so. I think there was a section of social media that was saying it was Ronaldo's fault, but there was no articles from memory. There was no major press coverage saying this is all Ronaldo.
No, all of United's mouthpieces were against Ronaldo.
Look, I think the way he plays ultimately has limited United. And we saw today that like the opportunities that Martial was getting, I know he wasn't at his clinical best today, Anthony Martial. But you saw the way that he attacks as a striker. It's completely different. We look a better side without Ronaldo. And the reality is, and we saw it, we saw a similar ending to his time at Juventus. We saw the likes of Giorgio Chiellini, we saw Bonucci come out and criticize him. And the reality is that Ronaldo will sit there with the arrogance and say, well, they haven't won a Champions League. I have, and I understand that. And if I'm Ronaldo, I'd be saying the same thing. But the reality is that when you've got leaders in two different dressing rooms that, now, of course, in United, it's a bit different. No player has come out and criticized Ronaldo. But when you see that you've got senior players at a club being critical, and then on the other side, you've got Ronaldo who's disrespected Ralph Rangnick, a legend in Wayne Rooney. It's disrespected Erik ten Hag in this interview. I just look at all these things and I say, well, look, unfortunately, mate, you haven't performed. Now, if Ronaldo had scored 10 goals so far this season, and then he wasn't being played, how much more different would this video be right now? He's not playing well. So at the end of the day, whatever argument he has, it doesn't help him out. Also, there are 60 odd people in here. Really appreciate all the support. If you can hit that like button on this video, it will help us a lot. It will cheer us up a little bit because as you can see, we're all a little bit red in the face. So make me and Tom feel a little bit better and hit a like on that video.
No, definitely. Box here saying very sad way for Ronaldo to leave the club through the back door like Roy Keane after an explosive interview. A little bit similar and undermining the manager and club. It will be interesting, obviously, to people who have stayed in touch and friends in regards to this sort of media circus playing out in regards to ex-players and everything. Roy Keane and Ronaldo are two people who have stuck together and obviously leaving in very similar circumstances in regards to their relationships with their current managers at the time. But in regards to that, look here, I'm not sort of... Again, anything I'm saying in regard is not a defense. I'm saying, like, get him out of the club tomorrow morning. Now, I think that pain will ease in 5 years' time. In 10 years' time, I think we'll look back and say, it's a shame how it ended, like it ended with Roy Keane, like how it ended with Beckham, with Ruud van Nistelrooy. It's a shame, but we move on. Wayne Rooney boycotted pre-season training to try and force a move through to Chelsea and force a move through to Manchester City. Club legend. These things will ease. And it's a shame. I hate how it's ending. It's life. I think, and again, Ronaldo is such a sort of, I say this it's a negative way of saying it, but I say this in a positive way. He's a very selfish person, but that's the personality trait he has, which is sort of got him to the stage he wants to be. So he does have that huge selfish element to him. However, I do think, and again, it's not this love for Manchester United that he has, but there is a respect there. I think he will, in 5-10 years' time, he will regret his behaviour now.
Well, time will tell. He'll never come out and say that the way he's going to come out with this. And look, I think obviously to summarize this video, all eyes will now roll over. It'll probably be Thursday our time, so we'll react to that. But all eyes go to the full interview to see what else comes out. But, it's really disappointing, Tom. Like we opened the video with, the fact that United produced such a wonderful result to come from behind. Well, I know it didn't come from behind, but to secure the 3 points in injury time, we should be talking about the performance. We should be talking about that game. And the fact that we're sitting here talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, that for me is the most disappointing thing. And ultimately, in summary, whatever you think of Ronaldo, whether you think you agree with him, whether you think United have been disrespectful or not, he has disrespected the club by allowing this video to come out after the game. And on top of all that, he obviously wasn't present. So I think all in all, there can be no debate. Cristiano Ronaldo has disrespected Manchester United, and this is why Cristiano Ronaldo should ultimately leave Manchester United.
It comes to this next point here. Streetwalks puts in the comment chat here. Can we all agree that he should be sacked for speaking to Piers Morgan to begin with? Which is obviously a funny thing in terms of Piers Morgan and the Sun, and that's a debate for another day. And even you could sort of direct that at Ronaldo himself in regards to using that outlet. That's a different discussion. However, in regards to the quotes we have, and again, the direct quotes, not the sort of the headlines at the moment, but the quotes we have seen, and potentially we're going to see even more, potentially even sort of more sort of volatile ones. Do the club have any grounds? I've seen one or two things saying he can be sacked for these now. I don't know. Technically, though, is there one or two potential lines in there where the club could actually take action? And because that's obviously what the club want to do. They want to let him go for the least amount of cost. So is there a situation with your legal hat on that he could have put his foot a little bit too deep and the club have some grounds to take action?
Well, if you're trying to pick out my expertise as a HR professional, Tom, ultimately, I don't know what's written into these player contracts. I would assume there is some sort of code of conduct. And I would also assume that there would be contract clauses in there that speak about acting in the interests of Manchester United, not to bring the club into disrepute or to act in any way that would damage, or that could be viewed to damage or have a negative impact to the brand that is Manchester United. So with my HR or legal hat on, of course there would be something in his contract around that. I have no doubt about that. But to terminate his contract, I don't know if that's the right way to go about it. I think ultimately what this will result in is Manchester United saying, you know what, we're going to let you go on a free. We're going to let you go in January. Whatever club comes in, if you can find someone, we'll ultimately let you go. In saying that, I think if a club doesn't come in, which let's have it right, no club came in for him in the summer, except for, I think there was a club from Saudi Arabia or something along those lines. He obviously wasn't interested in that. Now, if a club does come in, if a club doesn't come in, rather, then there is going to have to be a discussion to be had, because I don't think United can afford to pay his wages and have him not play. And I think after this interview, it's very clear he cannot kick a ball for Manchester United again. So it's going to be really interesting if we get to the end of January. The end of January, and see how the club handle this for sure.
Well, there's a comment here from Dion saying a settlement will be reached behind the scenes, which look, we're getting the settlement part of it. But as I said, as soon as I saw the interview with Piers Morgan, okay, my first instinct, okay, the relationship between Man United and Ronaldo is done. I'm sure there has been an agreement where, okay, he's not going to play for Man United again. But you do that, say that if they don't sack him, he's still contracted as a Man United player, and no other club is able to reach an agreement with Man United and Ronaldo. Well, what happens? Because he's still going to stay at Manchester United. Now, we've just all agreed, for right or wrong, that he shouldn't ever play for Manchester United again. We both sit on the side of the fence that he shouldn't play. But ultimately, if he is a contracted player, and if he is a player, that means Man United aren't signing a striker. Now, we're in desperate need of a striker, regardless if Ronaldo stays or goes. We need one now. Now, if Ronaldo leaves, we definitely need one. We probably need two. But I'm just thinking, if Ronaldo does stay, we're definitely not signing a striker. So what position does that put Erik ten Hag in?
Oh, a very difficult one, to be frank, but he can't play again. Well, now, we've come in after the Tottenham game. I came on here and said he can't play for United again, and maybe that was a bit inflammatory. But after this interview, hand on heart, Tom, I can truthfully say now he cannot play for Manchester United again. Now, if that means Martial has proven that he can't stay fit. If Martial or Rashford goes down, unfortunately, you got to take the moral high ground here, and you can't allow him to play again. I know that might be detrimental, and if that means United miss top four, I will go to bed peacefully knowing that United stood their ground and decided that that badge means something, that this club means something, and that no player can be bigger than the club. Because if he plays again, it is an utter disgrace, and it is a disrespectful sign to any player that has bled, fought, and truthfully shown the love and respect that this club deserves. So it would send the wrong message. He cannot play for United again. If he doesn't leave in January, you find a way to get him off the books. If you can't do that, let his contract run out. He shouldn't be allowed to be in training. He should not step foot in Carrington again. I'm willing to go that far. He should not be present in Manchester United or associated with Old Trafford again.
Yeah, no, it looks hard. I would say, and look, I side with you in regards to that he shouldn't play for Man United again. I want to see him leave now. However, in my opinion, as I said, in 5-10 years' time, it might take a while, but I think these wounds will sort of heal over time. And I won't say his legacy won't be tarnished. Actions speak louder than words. So the words at the moment hurt, but they won't take away the actions, especially his first spell and what he actually did on the pitch. I think they will sort of trump these hurt feelings we do have in 5-10 years' time. So just in terms of, there's no way back on the pitch for Ronaldo. We both sit here and say he can't play for Man United again. One, just shouldn't, but also potentially in terms of the way he's performing as well. But also in terms of, is there not a way back? Because obviously his time at United is done on the pitch, but is there a way back in regards to not sort of mending the relationship? Obviously some people will sort of go all the way with this and say, no, forget about him. He's nothing to do with the club. But is there a way back to sort of, for you? Because you might have a different opinion to me. I think he will remain a club legend. Will take time. But just your opinion on how he can sort of put a Band-Aid over this wound that he's caused. Because he has caused. Now, I think the club have caused it a lot more than people want to admit at the moment. I think in 5-10 years, we will look back at the club's handling of the situation and realise Ronaldo is to blame, but the club is just as much to blame for their aspect of it as well. So I'm just thinking, how can Ronaldo potentially soften the blow throughout time?
The way he softens the blow is to leave. I think ultimately that would be the way to do it. Now, if he leaves now, like you say, time does heal all wounds. As far as I'm concerned, he'll always be a Manchester United legend. Roy Keane is still a Manchester United legend. Peter Schmeichel is still a Manchester United legend. And he played for Manchester City following his, sacrimonious departure from Old Trafford as well. So ultimately, yes, of course he's still a legend. He won a Ballon d'Or. There's not many players who have won a Ballon d'Or with that Manchester United badge on their heart, Tom. So, of course, he remains a legend. He's achieved everything. He's won everything. Every major trophy to be won, he's done it at Manchester United. So that doesn't change. But his legacy, his treatment, and his relationship with the fans, it's soured. I don't think you're going to hear Viva Ronaldo being sung at Old Trafford for a while now. And I think he ultimately needs to have a clean breakup from the club. So in like you're saying, in 5 years' time, in 6 or 7 years' time, when he's a guest at Old Trafford, hopefully there can be a round of applause. Because at the moment, it's unfortunately really sour. And that's probably the most disappointing thing. In terms of this video snippet, he's tried to cuddle the fans with this fake apology and saying the fans matter and the fans deserve to know the truth. Like, spare me, mate. Like I said, if he'd been smashing in the goals and then being sat on the bench, no one would be sitting here disagreeing with him. But ultimately, he's not performing. This looks like sour grapes. And ultimately, it's time for him to leave the club.
Definitely. We'll start to wrap up in a sec, but just one point there before we wrap up. It's a messy situation. Look, it's an absolute circus. It's such a shame how it's ended. It's caused such anger, frustration, sadness. It's not a clean situation. However, is it almost in regards to the only way this could unfold, as messy as it is, it's actually quite a clean break. It gives Erik ten Hag a clear line in the sand. Okay, he can't play for the club again. Ronaldo knows he can't go back. The club know they can't sort of cave to his demands anymore. And it's almost, as messy as it is, quite a clean sort of fracture, and like the club can sort of move on. Ronaldo and the club can move on, and it makes it actually quite easier. Because if he doesn't do this interview over January in the World Cup, we're still, is he going to play? Does he want to be? Does he want Champions League? Is he fit? Is he good enough? There were all these opinions and sort of conjecture over his time at United. But now there's a line in the sand, and it makes things a lot clearer, as messy as they are.
Yeah, I take that. You know what Ronaldo should dream of now? He needs to go to the World Cup and have an absolute blinder. I think that would be the best thing for him. If he goes to the World Cup, dominates, and you know what? We said it here, this dream scenario where it's Messi versus Ronaldo in the World Cup final, as unlikely as it may be, Ronaldo should aim for that, because that's the only way I think he comes out of this looking half good. If he can manage to get Portugal into a deep run into the World Cup, make the final, score a couple goals, even if they don't win it. If Ronaldo goes to, well, even imagine the story if he wins the World Cup, then suddenly it's Ten Hag's fault. Ten Hag's the wrong one. He hasn't found the way to unlock Ronaldo. That's what Ronaldo will be dreaming of. Now, I don't think that will happen, Tom. But if you're Ronaldo, that's the only way he comes out of this with a glimpse of glory. But otherwise, look, like I said, I think he's ultimately in the wrong here. He's acted poorly. And I think in time, he will come to regret doing this interview. I really do.
No, look, I completely agree. And just on that, in regards to Ronaldo is in the wrong, I just want people to, while admitting Ronaldo is in the wrong, also take a step back, take a breather, and also look at the club. This is not a defense of Ronaldo, but also look at the club. And the club is also extremely in the wrong for many things around this Ronaldo situation. That's not a defense of Ronaldo, but I think we do need to see both sides of the coin. But speaking of the World Cup there, Larry, you do mention it. Obviously, there will be plenty of content throughout the World Cup. We'll obviously keep a lot of it Manchester United related, as we do have a great sort of representation at the World Cup. So make sure you are subscribed. And we do have a few more spots in our World Cup sweepstakes. We've got 13 entries so far. So still a few more entries. We want to get up to that 32. For $2 an entry, you can just leave a thanks in the playback or in the super chat option. Just leave a $2 donation, and your name will go into the draw to get a random team for the World Cup sweepstakes. And if that team ends up winning the tournament, you'll get a free signed photo of either Brian Robson or Dennis Irwin, whichever one tickles your fancy. So do let us know if you do want to get involved with that. We can pass on a few more details for you. Don't have the photos with me now, but in regards to that, World Cup is coming around in a couple of days' time. Well, the next game will be World Cup, obviously Ecuador and Qatar. But anything else, Ronaldo situation, you do want to sort of touch on or that we may have missed? I'm sure there's probably one or two more quotes that have popped out since we went on live, but it has been a good one.
His disrespect of Wayne Rooney. Seriously, I could do a video of that.
Yeah, I want to see that. And again, it's not a defense of Ronaldo. I want to see what the question was which brought that up. And sometimes Piers Morgan obviously has a bit of a relationship with Rooney, so I don't know if that was potentially that joke at the end about his body was tongue-in-cheek or serious. And again, Ronaldo does have that petulance to him, which is a good thing, but unfortunately at times, like today, it's a very bad thing.
Yeah, well, for those in here, there's 94 of you. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button, because what we will do, Tom and I will review. The full video comes out, I think it's Wednesday UK time, Tom. So once that full video comes out, we'll have more context. We'll dissect all of those comments, and I'm going to sit here and tell you why Wayne Rooney's a bigger Manchester United legend than Cristiano Ronaldo, which I'll take great joy in doing. So I hope you and all the listeners do look forward to that as well. But obviously, looking forward to the World Cup. As you mentioned, we'll cover a lot of content. And what I will ask you midweek, and in our next, as we preview the World Cup, I'm going to ask you what team you'll be going for, Tom. So whatever team it is, I want you to get your jersey ready. I think I know what jersey you will be wearing. But I look forward to doing that with you. And I'm looking forward to the World Cup. It's going to be an exciting time. Let's hope Ronaldo smashes it and tells us and Erik ten Hag why he's not finished, why he's 37 and whatever else.
Well, I've been clamoring for this Portugal-Argentina final for so long for obvious reasons. This before, when I was still a fan of Ronaldo, obviously not his biggest fan at the moment, but this Ronaldo v Messi, Portugal-Argentina. To be fair, I'm still looking for that Portugal-Argentina final. Ronaldo, but not against Messi. It should be Garnacho going there, for God's sake. We should be talking about Alejandro Garnacho today.
I think Lo Celso's not fit, so
we should be talking about Garnacho today. And this falls on Ronaldo. This is Ronaldo's fault why we are talking about him, of course. But we can't sort of lose the fact that Manchester United won an important game. A young youth academy product scored a winner away at Craven Cottage, 93rd minute. And they said it's his youngest player to score an injury time winner in a Premier League match since Federico Makeda back in obviously 2009. Ronaldo scores 2 goals that game as well. But look, it has been a whirlwind couple of hours for Manchester United fans, but we'll surely be back in the next day or even a couple of hours. Who knows when the next couple of things come out. But make sure you are subscribed. Hit that notification bell so when we do go live, even at crazy hours like this, taking a bit of an hour out of our time out of the workday, make sure you are always involved in the live chat. We do appreciate everyone's input and different opinions. Definitely is what creates a lot of the great discussion we do have. But Larry, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll let you get back to work. I'm back to work as well. And we'll chat to you when we chat to you. Cheers.
Cheers.